Good day, everyone. This is Sydney Lefofe of SL Podcast. I'm very excited again today to be sharing information with you, the information that is meant to change your life and make you better. We are on another important topic, which I'm very excited about. One step at a time, one day at a time. It is very important for us to understand these simple things about life. A journey of many kilometers is achievable, whether by road or using a motor vehicle or by foot or by any other mode of transport. It is achievable, and we are talking about that today. And we can achieve the journey 1/10 of a wheel at a time, or one stroke of a step at a time. These are the realities of life. These are the important lessons that we can learn from. We are not to be preoccupied by the total distance or the total journey or the things that are required for us to reach our destination. If we are going to think about the whole things that are needed, or we try to look at the bigger picture, we look at 1,000 kilometers, we can be overwhelmed if we are not careful. That's why we are saying 1/10 of a wheel, one step at a time. We can actually reach our destinations. We can actually reach our goals if we can put life into perspective a little bit more. Because like I said, if you can be preoccupied by the amount of distance you have to cover, it can be a little bit cumbersome and it can be a little bit discouraging to start the journey. Even though life requires us to take a journey, we are in a life journey, all of us. We started somewhere and we are in a life journey. And we can reach our destination where our life ends, either successful or with empty hands. We need to be aware of this thing to say we are in a journey. And the journey that we are in might be long, it might be short. We need to be in full view of what we want and what is required from us. And if we are going to look at the cumbersomeness of the amount of distance we have to cover, we are not going to make the first step. We are not going to make the first action that is required for us to travel. There are many things that we can look at when we're looking at what is required. There are times in life where we have enough resources to carry us through the journey. And there are times again that we don't have enough resources, but we are still required to cover the same distance. Whenever we go through all these challenges or all these things, those with resources, those who are well resourced, it will be easy for them to take off because they have everything covered. And those who don't have enough resources, most of the time, these are the people that are supposed to plan. These are the people that are supposed to sit and map the way forward to say, am I going to start or am I not going to start? Because it is a decision that we need to make. You are better off when you are well resourced. And it is a little bit of a challenge when we are under-resourced and it requires more of an effort from us to start off the journey and push until we finish. Many people can't do much in life, or many people can't do anything because they get overwhelmed by the cumbersomeness of the distance that they have to cover, under-resourced. And we are going to be paralyzed if we are going to calculate the cost that will be required, the total cost that will be required. Because if you are able to get that, well and fine, but if you are unable to get the total cost, it doesn't necessarily mean because you can't get the total cost, you have to stop or you are not supposed to start off on your journey. This is something that we are going to be looking at today. The overall goal or the overall goals are bigger in nature. The overall dreams are a complete picture. And if we are going to look at what we want to achieve, and we look at it at the end of it all, how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to end up, it can be bigger and it can be a complete picture. But what we need to understand is that it will take a lot for us to get to the ultimate goal or the ultimate dream, which is a bigger picture or a complete picture. If we are to be preoccupied by the overall picture, we could be overwhelmed into inactivity. This is a fact that we have to live with every day. If we are going to be preoccupied by the complete picture of how our lives should end, we can be preoccupied and we can be affected by the amount of things that are required for us to get to where we need to get to. It is imperative for us to understand that. It is important for us to understand that the overall goal can be broken down to small achievable objectives. The overall dream can be broken down into small achievable activities. And all these things can add on to complete the bigger goal or the bigger picture. But if we are going to look at the bigger picture without breaking it down, it will be cumbersome and it will be something that can be perceived or looked at as impossible to achieve. But all those things are not true. If we can put life into perspective a bit, the bigger picture or the ultimate dream is a complete picture. But we can fit in small parts of the picture over time until we get to the complete picture. Or we can fit in a little bit of objectives that can add on to the bigger goal. The overall dream or the overall goal should be broken down into small, achievable things. It is very important for us to get to that. Every activity should be a feeder to the vision. Everything we do, our life should be structured in such a way that every activity that we do is a feeder. It fits on to our vision. It fits on to our goals. It fits on to our dreams. But if we are going to have feeders and deductors, we are never going to achieve what we want to achieve in life. We should always be careful about everything we do. We should be careful about the activities we carry out in our personal lives, because they can be feeders or they can be deductors. And if we are going to allow some of these things to deduct a lot out of the bigger picture, we are going to end up with nothing, instead of us achieving the bigger picture that we so much want to achieve. The success that we wish for, if our activities or our daily activities can be feeders we are going to definitely get to succeed in everything that we try to do. Life requires understanding, and it is imperative for us to have proper knowledge. We need to have proper perspective about life. We need to have proper knowledge on what to do and what not to do. And if we are going to be careful to do the things or activities that are feeders, we are definitely going to achieve a lot in life. The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." This is how life is. It doesn't necessarily mean because we're talking 1,000 miles or we're talking 1,000 kilometers, we should just stop because we are talking a longer distance. When you are to foot or to walk 1,000 kilometers, it is quite cumbersome. But if you are determined to make the journey, it will prove that you are really determined by taking the first step. And the first step will lead us to cutting on the kilometers, 1 kilometer at a time, until we reach the 1,000 kilometers. This thing is achievable, and we have seen people achieve walking 1,000 kilometers. We have seen people travel, which is easier, by road 1,000 kilometers or more. But it requires us to make a decision to get into a bus or to get into your car and start off. It is very important for us to understand that. It is imperative to understand the importance of one step that is on the meters at a time. If we are going to understand the importance of the first step or one step that it's on meters and continuously it's on the kilometers that we need to be eating on every day until we ultimately get to our destinations, we have to put this thing into perspective and understand it. One turn of a wheel at a time and one stroke of a step at a time will lead us to the ultimate point where we'll be standing at the summit of our achievements and say, "It was a long walk, but I made it." It is very important for us to understand that, and it is very important for us to get to that level where we know we have to be covering some distances, yet we are ready or determined enough to make the first step and keep going consistently and persistently until we achieve the distance that we want. That alone will lead us to another important point, so which we need to be cognizant of, or that we need to understand a little bit better. There's another Chinese philosopher called Buddha who said, "Travel only with thy equals or thy betters. If there are none, travel alone." This one leads us now to companionship, the people that are surrounding us. The Chinese philosopher put it very simple for us. Travel with your equals, people with the same mindset. Birds of the same feather should be flocking together. Or even people who are betters, or people who think better than you or do things better than you. If there is none equals or none betters, you are better off as a lone ranger, because the ultimate goal is to reach your goal or your dreams or your bigger picture. It is very important for us to understand that there's a journey before us that needs to be traveled. There's a distance before us that needs to be covered. There's a life before us that we need to live and get to the other side, either successful or empty-handed. And it is up to us to come to that, to say, I am going to travel this distance of my life. I want to be successful in my endeavors. I want to do the things that I will ultimately stand at the summit of my life and say, I made it. I nailed it. With pain, I nailed it. This is a very important point that we need to get to. The life journey before us is real. This is what we need to get to. The journey is real, and it is pretty clear that we need guidance and determination for us to reach to the other level as victors or as successful. It is very important for us to understand that we need to be aware again that there is a promise that if we are going to set out on a journey, we'll get to the other side. This is a promise that life gives us. We need to work hard. We need to focus. We need to stay focused on what we are doing, because if we can continuously work, we are going to get to the other side successful. One thing that is never mentioned again in our walk of life are the challenges that we have to face for us to reach to the other side, successful or as victors. There are rivers that need to be crossed. This is a fact. If you set out on a journey, there will be rivers. Some rivers don't have bridges, and you need to cross them anyway. Some rivers are too sandy, and if you use a truck, it might get stuck on the way. And we need to be ready for all those things. We need to be ready for the challenges of crossing rivers. And there are valleys to be traversed. It is very important for us to understand that we will have to traverse a lot of valleys. And a valley is a ditch or an area, and it usually covers a lot of distance. And if we are going to be impatient, we are going to realize that our journeys are going to end in the valleys. There are mountains to be climbed, and it will require a lot of energy for us to climb mountains or to go uphill. It takes a lot of energy for us to go uphill and only to go downhill, because you go uphill to go downhill. It is very important for us to understand that there will be mountains before us that we need to be climbing. And one of the things that we need to be aware of and be pretty sure about, shoes wear out on the way. You have to change shoes sometimes. And if you don't have a pair to change with, you should be ready to go barefooted, because this is how life is, and this is how we perceive life, and this is the reality of life. Shoes will wear out on the way. And the other important thing, which is very, very important and critical, we get sweaty and smelly on the way. When we travel, we get sweaty and we get smelly because we are not in the comfort of our homes where we can take baths when we want to. This is a journey, and whenever we travel, we should be aware that we will get sweaty and smelly, and it is part of the package. It is part of the things that we have to go through for us to reach our destinations. In business, we get sweaty because there are times where the profit margins are not as good, and you get challenges, you get calls. People are knocking because they want their share of the business, because when you have suppliers and you have creditors and you have people that are feeding in your business somehow, there will come a point where they want returns from their investments. And if you don't have enough, it is a sweaty and a smelly experience. And we need to be ready for all those things. We run out of provisions and hydrating liquid on the way. This is a fact of life. On our journey, we are definitely going to run out of provisions every now and then. And how you survive the dried out times, it is very important. And how you maneuver the fact that you are getting dehydrated and we don't have enough hydrating liquids. We need to be managing that. Otherwise, we are going to realize that we'll be sick on the way and we will still have to travel, because if we are going to be soft on the way, we are definitely going to die on the way, because dehydration will kill us. This is a fact, and this is the truth about life. Even in business, whenever we are getting dehydrated in terms of what comes in, the income or the money that comes in is getting dehydrated, or we are getting dehydrated, it is time for us to focus, to say, if I can get to the other side, if I can manage this time of dehydration, I'll get to the other side and I'll rehydrate again, or I will get liquid again, and then my life can change and improve. What we need to understand, with all these challenges that we'll be going through in life every now and then, we still are required to stay focused on making steps consistently every day. This is what it boils down to. This is what it comes down to. We still need to be consistent. We still need to make one step at a time until we reach where we need to reach. And we are concluding by saying, one step at a time, one day at a time. This is how we started our topic, and this is how we are ending it. One step at a time, one day at a time. And if we can habitually and consistently understand and get to that level where we make steps every day, and we take steps consistently and persistently, we'll get to succeed in life, or we'll get to the other side as victors. Because we are not going to be hampered to continue, even when we are getting dehydrated, even when we are going uphill, or we have to cross rivers. It is very important for us to be understanding of all these things, because it is important. For us to get to the bigger picture, we need to stay focused, we need to stay consistent, and we need to be habitual in taking steps. Our lives can amount to something if we could be loyal to the life principles and consistent to do what is necessary to get to the other side as victors. If we are going to be loyal to the life principles, if we are going to concentrate much on the activities that are feeders, not the things that are subtracting to what we are trying to build, we are going to get to the other side successful. It is important for us to have that view in life, to say, I'll stick to the life principles. I'll be consistent in my activities that are feeders, and I'll reduce the things that are subtractors, or the things that are deductors, which deduct on what I'm trying to build. And with proper perspective and proper actions, our dreams and visions can be realized. It is very important for us to understand that better view, better perspective, better actions, better activities, which are feeders, not deductors, we'll get to the other side successful. We can do this. We can be successful. Our lives can amount to something if only we can do one step at a time, one day at a time. It is very important. Thank you.